Hello and welcome to Mega Man 1. As you can see by the menu, this is not the NES version everyone is so used to, but it's the PlayStation 1 version, which I prefer for a great many reasons. However, it was only released in Japan, which is why it's all Japanese. But you know, the cool thing about the Japanese version of this game is that it actually has Mega Man on the title screen, which is nice, or Rockman as he's called in this. But you know, in the Western version, it's just kind of like a blank screen with just a title, which is a little bit boring. But yeah, I prefer this version for a lot of reasons that I'll get into later. Let's start with this one. Amazing. Yeah, I always preferred the name Rockman personally. I just think it sounds a bit cooler. I always kind of struggled to say Mega Man a lot of times in sentences and stuff. Man, I'm too focused on yapping, I'm not actually paying attention to the game. But I always kind of struggle to say Mega Man a lot in sentences and stuff. Find it kind of awkward to say, and I feel like it sounds kind of weird in my voice somehow. So I always preferred saying Rockman normally, but I know that makes me sound a bit like a weeb because I insist on the Japanese title. I don't really insist on it, it's just kind of like a personal preference I have. But I understand why they changed it, because they figured in Western audiences the name Rockman would give people the impression that he had some kind of rock powers. Which isn't really the case at all, he kind of just shoots lemons out of his arm. This is a game that I love a lot, actually. My first Mega Man game was Mega Man 2, which everyone absolutely praises to high heaven. But probably my hottest take on this series is that I greatly prefer this game over the second one. And I'd never try to argue that this is like objectively better or anything. But I prefer this one personally. I find this one easier to go back to, probably because it's a lot shorter. You can beat this game in less than an hour for sure. I'm not sure if I'll beat it in less than an hour now. We'll have to wait and see. But it definitely can be done, even by someone of my skill level. But yeah, it's a lot shorter, so it's a lot easier to get back to. But also, this game is very, compared to the second one and all the ones after that, yeah, it's very, clunky and weird in certain ways. But Mega Man 2 has some really major low points that are, in my opinion, lower than this game's low points, and make that one really hard for me to go back to. So this is honestly one of my favourites. And, you know, I think as far as Famicom NES platformers go, it's aged absolutely fantastically. Although not a lot of people would probably agree with me on that. But yeah, I'm already at the end of this level. This game has some really short levels. This is a pretty good level. I usually start with this one. I generally consider this the kind of first level of the whole series. But obviously you can start with any of the 6 that you want. And yeah, obviously notable difference about this game compared to the rest, there's only 6 bosses. Whereas kind of the basic kind of template set in the second game onwards is that there's always 8 bosses, but this one only has 6. Apparently they planned for there to be 8, but they didn't because of memory limitations and stuff. Anyway, here's Cutman. He's really easy, so hopefully I don't die. Shit, he has a really easy pattern. Normally. He's fucking me up anyway there. But yeah, you can't do a lot of complex stuff in this game. There's no charge shot or slide or anything like that. But yeah. Come on. Got his ass. That was way closer than it should have been though. Yeah, this game has a lot of stuff that is kind of outdated now. For example, the point system that we just saw. I'm gonna go Bomb Man next. He's the second easiest in my opinion. But yeah, the point system, it kind of doesn't make any sense. Points are kind of dropped randomly and kind of allocated randomly at the end of the level. At the end of the level, you just get a random number, and it doesn't really make any sense. And it's kind of just a relic of arcade game design, which they kind of scrapped going forward, which was a good choice, I think, because it's kind of just at the top of the screen there, not really meaning anything. What's kind of interesting to me is that they actually brought it back in the remake, Mega Man Powered Up for the PSP, which is actually my favourite classic series Mega Man game. And fun facts about this game I'm playing now, actually, is that it released 5 years before the release of the Muppet Christmas Carol. Sniper Joe, classic enemy. They're really annoying in this game. Like in Mega Man 2, they're like, they kind of just stand in one place, but here they like jump about, and I never know how I'm supposed to... You know, some people play this game absolutely damageless, and I have no idea how they get past this enemy in particular. But yeah, they don't take that many shots to kill, fortunately. But yeah, my favourite classic game is Mega Man Powered Up, the remake of this. It has like this really cutesy kind of toy-like, childlike art style. And it also adds 2 more Robot Masters, Time Man and Oil Man. I think Oil Man, it might have been, was one of the ones that was scrapped from this game, but they brought him back. He has like a weird design though, that's kind of racist, which is a bit questionable. But yeah, one of my first Mega Man Maker videos. Shit, I fell on the spikes, that's annoying. One of my first Mega Man Maker videos was a remake of Time Man's stage from Mega Man Powered Up, because I was like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if this stage from the remake was in like the style of the original. It wasn't a very good remake that I did of it. It wasn't a very good recreation that I did. But you know, it got a lot of attention, which is nice. Yeah, I definitely a few years ago really grew my channel based on like making Mega Man levels. I really pumped those things out. And it was a lot of fun back then, but then I kind of just creatively burnt out on it and stopped doing it. Yeah, ironically, some of my best performing Mega Man Maker levels were like remakes of existing things, like that Time Man stage, or my best performing one so far was, by far even, was a recreation of like the first 2 Wily stages from Mega Man 2, but you play them backwards. And it's like you're escaping from the fortress, and everyone loved that for some reason, and you know, that's good. But none of my original stuff ever got as much attention. But yeah, when I first started playing Mega Maker, one of the things I was most excited to do, one of the ideas I was most excited to do, was make a kind of Metroidvania style level in this game style. Which I did end up doing twice with my Mega Metroid levels, which were also got a lot of attention, which is nice. I've been considering making another one. There's this mod of Mega Maker which is like Mega Man X style and has like Mega Man X mechanics, which I'm thinking of making another Mega Metroid level with that, which would be very fun, but I might end up doing that. Again, the annoying thing about points in this game is that it makes it so that most of the enemy drops are not anything actually useful. They're just points, which no one cares about anymore in the big 2026. But people didn't even really care about them in 1987 either. Everyone talks about this platforming challenge as if it's like the hardest thing ever. It's like, oh man, it takes so many attempts to get through here, and like, guys, it's really not that hard. It's kind of easy. It's not that bad. Okay, you just gotta be paying attention. And I'm hardly even paying attention right now because I'm focused on yapping. But yeah, this level in particular is really, really short. Got his ass. But yeah, so I might be doing another one of those. You know, my first 2 weren't very good, but I love them a lot. Oh, look at you! You just came back straight away like a. I was going to compare you to another game series where the moment you off-screen an enemy it respawns, but then I realised Mega Man was actually what I was thinking about. But yeah, thinking of doing a X-style Metroid level, that could be a lot of fun. Mega Man X, the first one, is my favourite Mega Man game. Even still. Like 5 or 6 years ago, I made a video, like a scripted review of Mega Man X, where I said it was my favourite game ever, which is not true now, and I don't think it was true back then either. Oh yes, fun feature about PS1 version of this game, I can switch through my weapons using the shoulder buttons, which is pretty much the whole reason I'm playing this version, because this is an amazing feature, I think. Anyway, yeah, Mega Man X was never my favourite game overall, but it is my favourite Mega Man game, so it's pretty high up there. But that video was so bad that I privated it and no one's ever going to see it again. like 100 people, or maybe more than that. A lot of people saw it, and one person left a dislike on it. And you know, if that person happens to be watching this right now, then just know that I understand you, and I agree. Anyway, cool thing about this game is that it has this kind of rock paper scissors element where you get the boss's weakness and then beat them with it. Isn't that fun? Everyone already knows this though. But I sort of went into this video thinking, I'm going to make it a kind of like gameplay commentary where I comment, say, about the game. And kind of just talk about my overall thoughts on it. You know, this is by no means like a critique or anything deep or sophisticated or proper like that. I'm just kind of rambling about my personal thoughts about this game while I play it. Which is nice. But yeah, I used to be much more of like a fan of the X series. And the Zero series especially. I love the Zero series for the Game Boy Advance. But in recent times, I've sort of started to realise, similar to what I said about Mega Man 2 earlier, where like, yeah, overall, it's definitely better than this game, but its low points are so much lower, in my opinion. Mega Man X, the best games in the Mega Man X series, I do prefer over the classic series, but Mega Man X has some extremely low points. Like, not the first game is amazing, but the series has some extremely low points. Which makes, you know, the whole series, which makes it basically impossible for me to now say that I prefer the whole series over the classic series. Recently I've been actually appreciating the classic series a lot more than I used to. You know, I used to always kind of like dismiss them and compare them to the X series and be like, oh, they're so like simple and basic and boring compared to the X series. But recently I've been playing them and being like, no, they're not. They're just as, you know, they're just as good. They're better, really, because they're more consistent for sure. Like the classic series, you know, like I said, the low points of the X series are really atrocious. But, you know, the classic series, some games are better than others, but it doesn't have any really bad games in it. You know, if you count just the mainline ones. I'm not a fan of the Game Boy games. Even Mega Man and Bass, which everyone hates. Everyone shits on Mega Man Bass just relentlessly. I love that. That's actually my second favourite. Oh, I just fell down. You know, unrelated, something I really love about this level is how you go outside, how it takes you outside. That sounds like a random thing to praise, but in the remake Powered Up, they actually changed it so that you're just inside the whole time. What the hell? How did I mess that up? But yeah, in the remake, Powered Up, they actually changed it so you're just inside the whole time. And that seems like a really weird thing for me to get all bothered about, but it does bother me. Because it's like, oh, this is a really, you know, just... I don't know, I like that you get to go outside. Ah, these are annoying. You know what, maybe I'll go to the left. This, I should have said already, is the worst level in the game in my opinion. At least the worst main Robot Master stage. Because it has those annoying, like... Oh, wrong weapon. Has those annoying green guys. Has a lot of these like electric traps that you have to wait for, so it's kind of slow paced. And it also has this where like you can take a left path or a right path, which sounds cool in theory. It is cool in theory, but at the end of the right path you sort of need. There's a point in one of the paths where you need this weapon that lets you pick up the blocks, the super arm that I got from Gusman. You need it in order to, you know, get through somewhere. And the game doesn't obviously tell you this. So like, if you get to the end of the right path without having that weapon, you're just fucked because you have to turn back around. Anyway, I just got the Magnet Beam, which is like an item that lets me create platforms, which only ever appeared in this game. It doesn't even really appear in Powered Up. Powered Up has like a mode that like recreates the level designs of the original, and the Magnet Beam is in that, but the actual main mode of Powered Up doesn't have the Magnet Beam in it, which I always thought was a weird choice, because like everyone seems to love it. Including me. But yeah, I guess it didn't fit with that creative vision or something. Anyway, yeah, these fuckers are annoying. It's really hard to avoid them. I seriously, like I said earlier, don't know how anyone gets through this whole game without taking any damage. Without getting hit by anything. Because this game does have a lot of bullshit in it that just kind of off-screens you. But yeah. This is the worst stage in the game. It also has the worst boss. Elecman can take you out in like 2 hits. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm going to game over to him when I get to him now. But I really hope that doesn't happen. Most of the levels have these big stompy guys at the end. Powered Up and Mega Maker make it so that they do like a little close their eyes animation before they do their high jump, which is nice because it means you can time it. Here it's just, you just got to guess, and normally you guess wrong. Anyway, and yeah, I hate this little final stretch because you have to wait for these electric traps. Yeah, and climbing up ladders in this game is really sluggish compared to later ones. Obviously. Like I said, this game, compared to later ones, this game's controls are very kind of clunky and slow. But I hold a very soft spot for it, you know? I like how short the levels are, I like how you can kind of breeze through this game, if you know what you're doing. Oh, seriously. Elecman is so tough. Yeah, fuck. I'm gonna have to cut back to when I get back here. That's telling me I can press triangle to save my game, which is a nice enough feature of the PS1 version. Love that. It is really satisfying to kill these floor enemies with a rolling cutter. I think this game has the best selection of... I think this game has one of the best selections of, like, boss weapons. Like, they're very solid. Mega Man 2 I'll bring up again. I sound like the biggest Mega Man 2 hater in this video, but Mega Man 2 I'll bring up again. Has some pretty good boss weapons, but it also has the Metal Blade, which everyone knows this, but the Metal Blade is so ridiculously overpowered that it completely overshadows every other weapon in the game. And which is a good thing for some, because they just love using it, but it is a problem with the design. And it makes all the other weapons worthless, which is a shame because they're quite cool. But in this game, the weapons are pretty solid. The Rolling Cutter, the Thunder Beam, the Firestorm, those are my three favourites. And Thunder Beam is the best out of all of them, but it doesn't quite overshadow them all as much, which is nice. Yeah, the vanishing blocks are kind of a classic Mega Man staple. I don't think they actually appear in any of the other series, except in Mega Man X, where they appear once in like the final levels of X5. I mean, the whole finale of X5 is meant to be like a big callback to the whole series anyway, so that's probably the only reason they appeared there. I love X5 a lot. I have a very soft spot for X5, even though it's kind of mediocre, really. But I don't know, I sort of have a huge soft spot for it. Alright, here I go again. Elecman, you're the worst. Everyone kind of shits on the bosses in this game. One in particular that I'll get to, but they're not that bad. You know, Elecman is probably my least favourite. But he's not that bad. You just gotta, you know, kind of depends on your luck. Gutsman too, depends kind of on your luck. Sometimes he's super easy, like he was for me just then. But sometimes he's surprisingly hard. But yeah. Elecman's Thunder Beam is, as I said, the best weapon in the game. And now I have it. Yeah, this game, yeah, it allocates clear points at the beginning of the level like that. But it's completely random, it doesn't make any sense. Ah yes. This level is slippy, naturally, because it's an ice level, but the thing about it is that this game's controls are slippy anyway, compared to the later ones. As I said, it's kind of weird to go back to, and also everyone knows that, like, when you drop off a platform or something, you drop super, super fast for some reason. Anyway, Thunder Beam. Yeah, there's actually no water mechanics in this game. You know, in later games, you would, like, jump higher in water, but here you just don't. It's just kind of an aesthetic thing. I might be going a little slower, but that's about it. It's not quite as focused on. Yeah. What am I doing? But yeah, you know, something that's super... You know, this game's visuals, even now, really impress me, especially compared to, like I said earlier, like other kind of platformers of the time. Or other NES games of the time, you know. Later Mega Man NES games, Mega Man 6 especially, which is the last one, have amazing visuals for the console. But even this one, which has the most basic visuals, still looks and sounds really good. you know, the soundtrack is the soundtrack of this one is like, I don't think this is the game that gives Mega Man its reputation of amazing music or anything. But this game's soundtrack is not that bad. I think it's Mega Man 2 that really kind of like started the trend of Mega Man games having amazing music. But you know, this ain't so bad. This section, if you don't have the Magnet Beam, really, really sucks. In fact, even with the Magnet Beam, it sucks anyway. We'll see how it goes. But those platforms that you have to kind of stand on, and like they shoot out their sides at you, they're so annoying because they kind of move on like a random path. And there's one level later on that uses them as well, which I really hate. Ah, fuck. See how fast you drop in this. Everyone clowns on this game for like how fast you fall. But yeah, it really is crazy. And also, the checkpoint sets you back in front of this enemy that moves super fast when you're in front of it, which is quite funny. Right, let's try this again, shall we? Yeah, you can't switch to the Magnet Beam with the shoulder buttons. I guess I understand, you know, if you want to quickly switch to a weapon, you don't want the platforming aid getting in the way, you know. Easy work. See, look how easy it is. Oh yeah, that section's not good, even at the best of times. That's nice. But yeah, I do love being able to switch through. It's kind of satisfying to just do. I love how it's such a cool idea how they made it so that his palette swaps, Mega Man's palette swaps, when you switch your weapons. You know, it's just a very simple visual indicator, and it's, you know, it's just very simple. You know, Mega Man's sprite is really impressive for the time as well, just even this. You know, the fact that they kept using it up through Mega Man 6 because it was just so perfect and didn't need to be touched for the whole, like, NES era of the series. You know, it's actually technically, I believe, made up of two different sprites, because, like, an NES sprite can only have, like, 3 different colours on it. But I'm pretty sure his face is, like, a whole separate sprite, which is why also, like, he kind of... So the colour palette doesn't change when I swap through weapons on his face, and also he has that little blink animation. Just a nice little touch, you know, gives him a bit of animation, a bit of life, you know. His design translates super well to the kind of pixel art style, which isn't always the case. You know, in Super Mario Bros. 1, Mario's sprite is kind of like... It doesn't really convey the kind of happy, jolly persona that he has, I don't think, very well. You know, he has like these eyebrows, but it kind of just makes him look really, really pissed off. He looks super serious in that game for some reason. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I just did that damage list, which is nice. You know, the thing about this game is that the level doesn't instantly end when you beat the boss. You have to like pick up that little item, which they changed later on in later games. But it does make it so that like if there's still an attack coming off, you know, if the boss just shot out an attack before you killed it, that attack can still hit you before you pick up that item, and you can still die. Anyway, I really like this level. No one talks about this level, but I love it. In the this game actually had another remake actually for the Sega Mega Drive for the Sega Genesis, called Mega Man: The Wily Wars, which is a remake of 1, 2, and 3. And I remember like I played that game when I was a kid because I was just so obsessed with Mega Man back then, and I just was playing all of them in every form. And that game's pretty good as well. It doesn't have the, you know, pretty much the only quality of life thing it has over this version is a save feature. This game though, I think it's so short that it doesn't really need one. But, you know, it's really cool seeing the graphics of this game sort of in a 16-bit style. And I remember getting to this level in that version and thinking that the music sounded like... First of all, it has like a really cool visual effect in this level, like rippling, like it's the heat. But I remember thinking the music in that version sounded like hot in a way that I really, really enjoyed. It really got me immersed. Yeah. That game, like I said, doesn't really have anything over this version. It's just really, except the nicer graphics and the arguably nicer music. It's kind of just really, unfortunately it's kind of just plagued by being really, really sluggish. Like, that version is just super sluggish for some reason, which makes it kind of not that good. there is a fan-made sequel to it, which I think is still being worked on, called the Sequel Wars, which is a Genesis Mega Drive remake of 4, 5, and 6, which I played a little bit of, and it's very, very good. You know, it's not even a ROM hack of the Wily Wars, which I imagine would have been a lot easier to do, because, you know, working off that basis already is there. No, it's actually made from the ground up, which is really impressive, and it's really good. It's not sluggish like the original Wily Wars is. It actually works super well. It actually made me like Mega Man 4, which is a game that I, for some reason, really hate. I can't pinpoint what exactly is wrong about that game, but every time I play it, I get pissed off. So I just don't like playing it. This game has long boss corridors. You know, after 2 onwards would make it a thing that the boss corridors, the little interlude here, would just be like one screen. But in this game, they're really long and they have enemies in them. It's not really a bad thing. It's just like a difference that I should point out. Anyway, Fireman is really, really hard via the weapon, I think. Buster only. So it's not even called the Mega Buster in this game, it's just called... I don't know if it even has a name, but Mega Buster technically is just the term for the charge shot that gets introduced in the 4th game. But, you know, everyone just calls it the Mega Buster now. It is a cool name, so I'm going to keep using it. Even though it technically isn't accurate. In the Zero series, they kind of remade Zero's kind of Buster weapon to not be like an arm cannon, but be like a little pistol he holds. And I always really enjoyed the animation of him like standing there firing his little pistol. Anyway, I've done all the Robot Master stages, so let's move on to the Fortress levels. Dr. Wily. Yeah, it's funny in this game, he kind of looks like he's got his feet up on the dashboard in the sprite. Anyway, I love the music in this level. It sounds very imposing. Shit. Oh shit, it did 2 high jumps and I didn't take advantage of it. Never mind, it did a 3rd, because this is an idiot. Yeah, like I said, it's really hard to predict those. Anyway. I said earlier that I had my hottest take on this series, which is that I prefer this game over 2. I have a take that I think is probably slightly less hot than that, which is that the boss of this level is my favourite boss in the game. And the boss of this level is a boss that everyone shits on and cites as a reason why this game is bad. And I think that people who do that are a bunch of babies. And if you do that, I'm talking to you specifically. The boss of this level is severely overhated. Shit, this part really sucks, I hate this. Oh, fucked it up, never mind. But yeah, everyone says, oh, the boss of Wily Stage 1 ruins the whole game. Got it. And I'm like, my guys, it's not that bad. Once you memorize his pattern, I wouldn't exactly say it's easy, but it's really not that bad. It's fine. Anyway, we'll see when I get to it. You know, I'm quite well practiced, which is probably the only reason I can say this, you know, but getting well practiced didn't take that long. I don't even have a good memory. I have a really bad memory. But it wasn't that hard to learn this thing's pattern. Let's use my normal. Oh, fuck. Yeah, if you fall onto spikes from knockback, even with invincibility frames, you still die. Which is a thing they changed in later games, you know, spikes don't kill you if you have iframes. But, see, as such, I wasn't expecting to demonstrate, but there we go. Yeah, this is the bit I was mentioning earlier as well, where I said, oh, those little moving platforms will come back and they fucking suck. This is it. This is the bit they fucking suck in, because I've got to save my magnet beam ammo for a section right after this, where it's required to progress. So if you didn't get it, then you're screwed. That's the worst thing about this level. This level actually sucks as well overall, even though I like the music and the boss. It's very short, but they made sure that the short length is plagued with annoyance. Anyway, that wasn't so bad, was it? This is the bit that I need the magnet beam for. But yeah, they don't really convey to you before you come here. You're going to need that one thing that you saw in Elecman stage, that you didn't. If you didn't have Gutsman's weapon to move those blocks, then you couldn't not have possibly gotten it. Yeah. I kind of get that like they wanted to do like a fun like exploratory thing, like you need to explore, but I don't think it's executed that well. Anyway, here we go. I love this boss music as well. Again, it's just so intense. It has aura, has immense aura, and this boss I think has a lot of aura. It's yellow. It's a devil. It does do a lot of damage when it hits you. But yeah, I like this boss. And nothing's ever going to change my mind. It reappears in Mega Man 3. And everyone's like, oh yeah, they brought it back in Mega Man 3 and made it better. They actually made it good. And I think the version in Mega Man 3 fucking sucks. Because that version actually is unpredictable. It does like all these attacks that I don't know how to avoid. This boss sucks in the remake as well, powered up. Oh yeah, everyone likes to brag, like, this game has a glitch. I'm pretty sure this version, the PS1 version, doesn't have this glitch, but the original version has a glitch where, like, if you pause the game while your attack is, like, hitting the enemy, you can, like, pause and unpause rapidly and make the attack keep hitting the enemy. I don't know the specifics of it, but there's a glitch that basically makes the boss really easy. And I keep seeing people be like, oh man, look everyone, I beat Yellow Devil without the pause glitch. And guys, I have a confession, I've never once used the fucking pause glitch in my life because I don't fucking need it. Anyway, yeah, the remake, powered up, makes this boss suck. The Wily Wars version that I mentioned earlier, Genesis and Mega Drive, makes it even easier because it's so sluggish, it's really easy to see the blocks coming. But yeah, the remake powered up sucks because it like stays on one side in like a swirling kind of storm of yellow, and gives you very little space to move around. Anyway, I will say, the Wily stages of this game kind of suck as well. They're the low point. However, I will stand by my opinion that Mega Man 2's Wily stages are even worse. Overall. Especially the one with the fucking turret trap at the end. Anyway, the thing I like about this game, it does something kind of like every Mega Man game has a boss rush at the end. And the boss rush is a trope that I really hate, because it's just really boring. You know, most games, they have like a room full of teleporters. And you have to stand in each teleporter and teleport to a boss room where you fight one of the 8 bosses that you've already fought, and then you can move on to normally the final boss right after that. And it's really boring and long-winded. And this game sort of does it slightly better, where it makes a couple of the bosses, you just encounter them like throughout the level, like I did just now. I think you just encounter Cutman and Elecman in this level, and then the rest of them just do the teleporter thing. So it's kind of half-baked. But I do prefer it over having them all be in a teleporter. Mega Man X1 does it the best, where you encounter all 8 of the Maverick leaders in that game throughout the fortress stages like this. But my worst enemy. But every X game after that does the teleporter thing, and it's even worse because in Mega Man X, the bosses, every time you kill them, they have this really long-winded explosion animation. Like here, when I kill him, he just explodes and I can just instantly move on. But in Mega Man X, you have this really long-winded explosion animation that you have to wait through, and it's really, really boring. So you know, Mega Man X, they got it absolutely perfect in the first game, and then they just fucked it up way worse in every game after. And I have to start this whole goddamn level again. Good, good, good. Let's be more careful this time, shall we? Sometimes this game isn't the most responsive. And Mega Man is a slippery little fucker. Amazing. See, after this, the rest of the bosses will just be all back to back, which, as I said, I don't like, but they tried to do something better. They just kind of half-assed it and gave up. If I'd slid into those spikes, I would have been very upset. Amazing. This weapon is so satisfying to use against big groups of small enemies like that. I really love about this game, like, the enemies, you know, each level has, like, the same selection. You know, each level has, like, their own unique enemies, obviously. But they also have, like, a small selection of, like, enemies that are across all of them, consistent across all of them, and they're all very simple in their mechanics. And something about that I just really enjoy. I really enjoy using these enemies in particular in my own mega levels because they're so easy to use. They're so easy to design around because they're so simple in their design. Anyway, I might have said earlier, I can't remember if I said this earlier, but I might have said that Elecman was my least favourite boss in this game. And if I did say that, that was a lie, because the worst boss in this game is this motherfucker, Copy Mega Man. Or Copy Rockman, whatever. Funnily enough, he does use the same AI for his movement that Elecman uses, which might explain why he sucks so bad. But yeah, I hate this motherfucker, and I want him dead. And every time I kill him, every time I get past him, I don't celebrate, I simply breathe a sigh of relief. And I don't think I'm going to beat him this time. He like attacks when you attack, so you kind of like bait him out, but I'm not very good at doing that. But he's nowhere near on the same level as the fucking Boo Beam boss from Mega Man 2. That boss can actually suck my ass, I hate it so bad. It's like offensive to me. That entire level that boss is in is like offensive to me, I hate it so bad. I forgot the checkpoint was back before the boss, I thought it was further back than that. But yeah, that boss pisses me off so badly that it ruined Mega Man 2 for me, I can't lie. It's the one reason I don't like going back to that game as much as this one. To be fair to Mega Man 2, I think they made it in less than a year. I could be wrong about that, but it was like a passion project that they were doing on the side, and they did it in a very short time. Because this game did not sell that well. Oh my god, he's fucking me up so bad. This game did not sell that well, so Capcom were like, hey, we don't need to make any more Mega Man games. So the devs were like, hey, we like making Mega Man games, we want to make another one. And Capcom were like, go on then. You know, if it's like a side thing that doesn't really take away from our resources. So they were like, yay. And it was all a big passion project, and it really paid off. And I love that for it. I love it for them. But some of the choices make that quite evident. It's still a great game. I really shat on it this whole time, but it's a game that I love. It was my first one, and everyone loves it for a reason. I just think everyone glazes it just a little bit too much. It's not the perfect golden paragon of gaming that everyone pretends it is, that's for sure. And this game really lives in its shadow, and I think that's a little bit unfair. Anyway, this is like my second favourite weapon in this game. But there's not really that many cases where it's specifically it's best to use it. It's just one of the ones that I find most fun. Anyway, it's really fucking this guy up though. I should have used it sooner. Whew, sigh of relief, as I said. What is that little dance he's doing? I've never seen that in my life. That's like his walking animation, but he's kind of stuck in place. That's quite funny. It's like 2 frames of his 3-frame walking animation. That's really funny. It's like the end of a Crash Bandicoot level where he does a little dance. Anyway, honestly, I'm past the low point now. Yeah, the only other thing I'll consider a low point in this game is the boss rush at the end, but that ain't so bad. I'm gonna beat this game in no time. Yeah, you know, I might have mentioned, but another quality of life for this PS1 version is that it has a save feature, but this game doesn't really need it, you know. Every NES Mega Man game, 1 through 6, got one of these PS1 releases, and I think the save feature works super well for all of them except for this one, because this game is so short. It's like Sonic 1. I used to play a lot of classic Sonic when I was a kid, and I used to like use the level select codes to basically, you know, leave off and come back where I left off. But now as an adult, I play those games and they feel so short. They feel so much shorter than I remember. And I never find myself wishing that I had a save feature in them. Obviously Sonic 3 has a save feature, 1 and 2 don't, and Knuckles don't. But I never find myself wishing they did because they're so short and easy to breeze through. And if I drop those games midway through, I'm not picking them back up. You know, if you pick up one of those games, you might as well start from the beginning. And that's how they're designed, you know. But as a kid, I never played them that way. In fact, I played a lot of retro games on my Wii U. Like, I had tons of like virtual console shit on my Wii U, and I used the hell out of the save states in those games. This boss is not that bad. But yeah, I really used the hell out of save states back then. You know, in a Mega Man game, for example, I would, you know, save states after every single platforming challenge. Every single hit I landed on a boss, I would make a save state so I wouldn't have to do that hit again, I guess. Or like, I would have saved that progress that I made against the boss. It's kind of embarrassing looking back. It's kind of an unfun way to play all those games. But yeah, I never feel the need to do that anymore. Easy ass boss. And he's doing a little hand thing, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I didn't initially play Mega Man on the Wii U. I played it on that little NES mini console that they released. I can't remember what year this was, but it had like 30 NES games on it, and Mega Man 2 was one of them. And I can't remember why I was kind of interested in him in the first place. I can't remember what about this series ever caught my interest in the first place. But that was definitely one of the games I wanted to play. And yeah, it was good enough to get me hooked, that's for sure. Anyway, I believe this is the final level. Oh, I thought that would make the ammo drop down. I should have known that that's not how this game works mechanically. Amazing. Another fun thing about this PS1 version is that it has like a little rapid fire button, which I really like using. It saves me having to mash the button. You know, the charge shot in 4 onwards is fun, but it kind of got me into a habit of like constantly like having my thumb on the shot button, on the shoot button, to have my shot constantly charged up. Which means I'm kind of just constantly plagued with this sound effect of charging your shot up. But obviously 1, 2, and 3, which don't have a charge shot, I don't have that problem. And I can have this little rapid shot instead, which is nice. Anyway, this is an item that only appears once in the whole series. And it recovers all my ammo and all my health. So it's very nice they put it for the boss rush. Oh, and it respawns! I didn't even know that. That's crazy. What do I need for... I can't remember who's first, so I'll just see. Bomb Man, he's kind of easy. He's weak to Firestorm. I'm actually not sure I want to use it though. Firestorm is the weakness of one of the last bosses, so I'm actually going to save it. Bomb Man is easy enough with Mega Buster anyway, so... Oh, please. Yeah, in later games, at least like the ones with the teleporter rooms, they would make the bosses drop health pickups, so you could actually regenerate your health. If I die to any one of these 4 guys, I have to do all 4 of them again. So this health is all I have now. This game obviously doesn't have E-tanks like later games do. Mega Man 2 introduced those. So I'm kind of... Hopefully I can get through this alright. I can't remember if I die to the Wily bosses if I have to do these guys again. I don't think I do, but yeah. Fireman is so relentless. I'm respawned right in the boss room. I did not remember that was the case. So yeah, any boss weapon ammo I use here is used, because I can't go back for that item that recovers it all. But getting a game over at this point isn't that catastrophic, because it just sends me back to the beginning of the level. It only matters really if I care about the points, which I think I've established well enough that I really don't. The other thing that annoys me about the remake, little nitpick I have about the remake powered up. You know, Mega Man's kind of backstory is that he was this lab assistant called Rock, and he was built by Dr. Light. Dr. Light was this scientist who built Rock to be his lab assistant, and he also built him a sister called Roll. And it's fun because together they're like rock and roll. It's like a music reference. This series is full of music references. Which is why in Japan he's called Rockman. But in the remake, they made it, you know, you start off the game not being Mega Man yet, because you know Dr. Wily turns all evil, and Rock is like, Dr. Light, turn me into a super fighting robot so I can fight against Dr. Wily's evil robots. And Dr. Light's like, okay Rock, I'm gonna turn you into Mega Man. And in the remake you actually see this happen. You know, you start out as just this normal powerless guy, robot. He's still a robot, but he's not like a fighting robot. And, you know, you see Dr. Wily be like, I'm gonna take over the world. Oh shit, I died. And then you know, you become Mega Man. But a nitpick I have about that remake is that his name before being Mega Man is not Rock. His name is Mega. So everyone's like, oh hey Mega. Oh hey brother and sister Mega and Roll. Doesn't that sound fucking stupid? I think that sounds stupid as hell. And I never hear anyone complain about it. But it's a big nitpick of mine. I hate it. I wish they could have just committed to the rock and roll bit instead of trying to Americanize him completely. I don't think anyone's asking, oh, why is his name Rock? That doesn't make any sense. He's Mega Man. Grow up. I love how there's these little statues of Gutsman all over the place. It's kind of a common joke, but like over the course of the series, Wily seems to really fucking love Gutsman in particular for some reason, because his kind of imagery, his design keeps showing up in the most random of places. Like there's this giant, you know, death robot in Mega Man 3 that looks like Gutsman for some reason. I'm pretty sure he steals Gutsman from a museum in the 7th one, and for some reason he's got all these golden Gutsman statues in his castle. And Gutsman is just like a construction guy. He was built to help out on construction sites because he's so strong. All of the Robot Masters in this game were built with like, well, not built for fighting. They were built by Dr. Light to do like, to help out humanity, you know? Gutsman was built to help out on construction sites, I think. Cutman like cuts trees for like lumber. Iceman like leads Arctic excavations. I don't know why his ice powers would be useful for that, but you know, it's a reason. But then Dr. Wily like takes them and reprograms them. Mega Man 2 is the first game where like the bosses were actually created by him to kill. I love the designs of the Robot Masters in this game. You know, all the character designs in this game are fantastic. You know, they're super simple, super charming. Yeah. And they translate extremely well to the sprite art. If they committed to the bit of having these bosses just appear throughout the levels, it would be fine. They just have to kind of... I felt like they wanted to do that, but they kind of forgot or ran out of space to put the rest of them, so they just kind of jammed them all in at the end here. You know, for as much as I complain about the teleporter rooms in the other games, you know, at least it's consistent. At least they give you health pickups throughout to keep you going. This part of the game, I think, feels the least thought out. And most like kind of slapdash, they just kind of chucked it together. It took a while for Mega Man games to actually sort their end game out specifically, you know. The Robot Master stuff is always consistently pretty good, but the end game is often the worst part. Okay, that's pretty good. Pretty easy, pretty good. Last one. Yeah, I don't know how you avoid getting stumbled by him, to be honest. It's very annoying. And he keeps fucking coming nearer, like an asshole. He's so annoying, I hate him so bad. Like I said earlier, he can be easy, but it can also be really hard depending on your luck. And also his weakness weapon is not that good. Anyway, I finally got through all that. Now, onto the final stretch. Honestly, it might not even be worth making this a real attempt. Because I'm going to die right away anyway. I'm just going to walk in and die, so I don't waste any of my weapon ammo. Because your weapon ammo doesn't recover when you die in this game. It just stays used. So if I use too much ammo now, on this attempt where I really don't stand a chance anyway, it's just going to be a waste. Alright, here we go. Real attempt against Dr. Wily. Oh, and the weapon energy respawns. That's nice. I'll be recovering this in that case. Amazing. The final showdown. This ain't that bad. You just gotta kind of... In the remake, they kind of do an interesting thing where he keeps like swapping between weapons, so you've got to keep swapping to like that associate boss's weakness, which is kind of interesting. But in this, he's just weak to like the Firestorm and the Thunder Beam, depending on what phase he's in. And he's got it's kind of a low attrition thing. That attack that he does, that like kind of beam, is really strange because it I don't understand really how it moves, but yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Got it! The game is beaten. And he grovels before me as he so often does. This would become like a trope throughout the series. For sure Mega Man 9 even makes like a joke about it, where like he grovels before and Mega Man's like, Dr. Wily, you idiot, you do this all the time, and then he shows like videos from all the games where he's fucking doing it. It's quite funny. Maybe it's Mega Man 10 where he does that, I can't remember. I do know that they showed the end of Mega Man Base, which is what confirmed to everyone that that was canon and mainline. Anyway, Rockman has ended the evil domination of Dr. Wily and restored the world to peace. However, the never-ending battle continues until all destructive forces are defeated. Fight, Rockman! Fight for everlasting peace! I'm Mega Man and I will do that! Yeah, amazing. This music is actually used for like the intro sequence in Mega Man 2, which is what most people know it from, which is fun. It also sounds, I've never heard anyone say this, but it also sounds to me very similar to one of the main themes from Earthbound, Pollyanna. It kind of sounds like that to me. But I've never, like I said, I've never heard anyone say that before. But yeah, lovely sunset. Now we see Rock without his Mega Man persona. His design kind of reminds me a lot of Astro Boy, in this game particularly. Like later on, his helmetless design would be different, his hair would look like spikier. But in this game, I also thought he looked like Astro Boy, which is probably intentional. This game is very openly inspired by that character, so yeah. His body looks very broad and muscular. And he's got that very fierce, determined look in his eyes. Yeah. And that is that. I hope you all enjoyed this. It was like a different kind of thing. I just kind of wanted to kind of ramble about my personal thoughts on this game while I just kind of played through it. So I hope that was interesting, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.